Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sam, and yes, I know I've been gone a while. I ended up getting really sick and overwhelmed with a lot of life stuff, job changes, things like that. But I'm better and I'm back to bring you all of the bookish and nerdy entertainment. So, let's get into it. To round out November, I'll be listing some of my favorite books that feature families. From secret siblings to found families, we've got it all here. And I'll be starting off with a classic many of you have probably read in school, A Wrinkle in Time. In this story, we have the Murray family, who are in disarray after the disappearance of their father. When three strangers come knocking on their door and reveal that their father has been whisked off to another planet, it is up to Meg, her younger brother Charles Wallace, and their school friend Calvin O'Keefe to travel across time and space to rescue him. Let me just say I am a huge fan of A Wrinkle in Time. I love the way it blends sci-fi and fantasy, and I think the story is super unique even though it uses silly cliche titles like The Black Thing. But what really stands out about this book is the way the family is written. They all love each other so goddamn much it breaks my heart. The love that Meg has for her father and vice versa is just so sweet. I've read so many books about single moms or neglectful parents that it's nice to see a story about a dad that cares so much and a family that's so deeply bonded. And don't even get me started on Charles Wallace. He is the cinnamon bun of the whole book. What he is willing to sacrifice for his family melts your soul, and the way Meg interacts with him is beyond touching. Even though this book is about good versus evil, it's a really cozy and uplifting story. 10 out of 10 recommend for when you just want to put a smile on your face. Next up, we have a book that swerves in the opposite direction, and that is My Sister's Keeper. Now, I've never seen the movie, but I've heard that the ending is completely different from the book, and that's deeply upsetting to me. I'm not going to spoil anything here, but the way the book ends feels like the only way it really should have. Any other ending just wouldn't do the story justice. So, My Sister's Keeper is about the relationship between two sisters, Kate and Anna, going through a medical crisis. You see, Kate was diagnosed with an acute form of leukemia as a child. Not knowing where to turn, her parents decided to have another child that was a genetic match for Kate's needs. The idea is that the second child, Anna, would be used to donate things like blood, marrow, and so on to Kate. When Anna discovers that she will be forcefully made to donate a kidney to Kate, she gathers up what meager savings a 13-year-old has, marches into the city to a lawyer, and demands to be medically emancipated from her parents. Right from the start, this book gives you all the feels. You want to pick a side, but you can't, knowing that one sister is literally dying and the other one is being used as a medical guinea pig. And, of course, this situation stirs up a lot of news coverage and a lot of family animosity. It is so interesting and sad to see the reaction of the parents and all the other adults around them. And as you dive deeper into the relationship between Anna and Kate and everything that's going on, the more confusing and gut-wrenching the book becomes. This is all about self-worth, sacrifice, and the ultimate bond between siblings. If you're looking to cry your heart out over some serious sisterly love, My Sister's Keeper is the book for you. I think it's time we take a turn and talk about found families. I absolutely adore a good book about a kid who finds a home away from home. Growing up in a not-so-great household, I found solace in stories like those, and one of my favorite examples is the Percy Jackson series. A 12-year-old boy with only one friend discovers he is special and taken to a place where everyone is just like him. No more feeling stupid, no more being left out, no more feeling alone. And sure, Percy had a great relationship with his mom, but being a demigod, there were things about him that she would just never understand. Reading how Percy finally gained a place that he could be himself gave so many readers out there hope. Hope that they could have what he had gained. The friendship that brews between the trio is full of empathy, loyalty, and trust. There's no other way to describe it than family. Another found family story I'd like to touch on is Howl's Moving Castle. Many of you might be familiar with the Ghibli version, but did you know it was originally a book by a British author named Diane Wynne Jones? The plot of Howl's Moving Castle is a little complicated as there are several deals and secrets going on in the background, but the basic idea is that there is this girl Sophie, who is cursed by the Witch of the Waste when the witch discovers that Sophie has the ability to breathe life into inanimate objects, and the witch labels her a threat. I absolutely love how Studio Ghibli chooses stories that are more about growth and self-reflection than traditional romance, and this story is no different. While Howl's Moving Castle does tend to go more towards the romantic side, it's so much more than that. The little family that Howl decides to make for himself is just so heartwarming. You can argue that his assistant Michael and Calcifer are there out of obligation, but at the end of the day, at the end of the book, they choose to stay with Howl. And Howl genuinely sees these random characters as family. This is what gives it the same vibes as the Percy Jackson series, just a lot less death and a lot more whimsical. If you're looking for a good found family book to romanticize, this is it. Sure, you can go watch the movie, but there's just something different about absorbing that warmth through words. And for the final pick of my fictional family list, we have The House on Mango Street. Not only is this a lovely and super easy read, I think it's a super important read for everybody. The House on Mango Street was published in 1984 by Sandra Cisneros and has since become a modern classic in Mexican-American literature. In this book, we follow a year in the life of Esperanza Cordero, a 12-year-old living in a Hispanic neighborhood in the city of Chicago. The House on Mango Street is styled in vignettes, short diary-like entries from Esperanza, and we explore the life of somebody in an in-between place, in between self-love and seeking approval, in between finding her own culture and the desire to assimilate to a new one. Esperanza states in the very beginning of the book that even though this house on Mango Street is the nicest place they've ever lived, she was still mad that it wasn't a real house like the one she had seen on TV. This is where the emotional roller coaster starts, and it doesn't stop until the end of the book. The way Cisneros writes, a lot of which is from personal experience, reminds me of the ways that old immigrants used to speak about coming to the United States. It might seem silly that somebody could believe that, but this was American propaganda. Word twisted and spread, and those desperate for a better life grasped onto those ideals. And imagine the mental hardship these people had to go through when they came to America and realized their ideas of what everything should be has now shattered. Now imagine all that, but you're also 12. Esperanza struggles with wanting everything that was promised to her, while her family tries to keep hold of their Mexican roots. The House on Mango Street tackles some very sensitive subjects throughout the story, from domestic violence to sexism to harassment. There's been a lot of debate about the age range of this book, whether it should be censored or whether it should be allowed to be presented in schools at all. Personally, I think every single person should read this book. Maybe you'll hold your family a little tighter. Maybe you'll think about the effects that colonization still has to this day. Either way, reading this story will change you even in the slightest. Well, that's all I've got for you today. Tell me about some other fictional families that you like to read about. There are so many out there. Or just tell me stories that your family likes to read personally. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Otherwise, all my social medias will be linked down below, and I'll see you guys next week for more shenanigans.